Welcome to Progressive Medical University. This is the next part in the series of 5 videos that we are highly encouraging you to watch on your journey to health and wellness. Inherent in wellness is the education it takes to get there. And so by sharing with you some key pieces, some key tools that you will hopefully use year after year, season after season, we can continue to maintain that environment that you and your genetics thrive in. We can continue to maintain an environment that optimizes positive expression and decreases the chance of pathology. Today's series will focus on detoxification, or toxic body burden. When we look at conditions like autoimmune conditions or heart disease, we notice that we have not seen a strong decline in amount out there. In fact, with that example of autoimmune conditions, we continue to see the numbers climb. Despite the fact that interventions continue to improve, that medicine has advances, that science is going on, we still see not the declines that we would hope for, and in fact, in areas of autoimmune conditions and areas of cancer, we continue to see an increase. The war on cancer was declared in 1973 by Nixon. Numbers of cancer have not gone down since then. It brings into question what's going on in our bodies and what it is we need to do about it. A very relevant part of that conversation is toxicity. It's not the same planet that our parents lived on, that our ancestors lived on. We've done many things to change what happens to our food and what happens to our water. We know that we're using pesticides today that were told to us that they would be healthier and better than the pesticides of the past. But the reality is that has not panned out like we would expect. And most of the food that we consume is highly laden with chemicals. From there, if it's not a whole food, it's processed. The chance of chemicals going in increase further. And from there, even if we had the most pristine food possible, the air we breathe, the water we drink is often outside of our control. Exhaust provides lead, a toxin to the body. Chemicals in water, we see not only chemicals, but other people's medications show up in our water as well. So it's a constant chemical assault that the body is exposed to. I mentioned this in our first series when I talked about how if you had genes that were indicative of breast cancer, that the chance of that developing into a cancer is twice today what it was in 1940. The gene is the same, the environment is different. Understanding detoxification is an important part to staying well for life on planet Earth. No matter if we are trying to achieve prevention or to move a condition into remission, being able to use detoxification is an important part of that. What does detoxification mean? Detoxification does not mean that you've had necessarily an incident with drug use or alcohol use and you're now going to detoxify, although that can be a meaning of detoxification. But what I mean is more the day-to-day assault to the body. What's on our foods, what's in our water, and what's in our air. It all puts a burden on our genetics, and the more we can move that out of the system more efficiently, the healthier we can keep our genetics. We can't live in a bubble. We can't always avoid these things. So how do we work from the inside out to make sure the exposure is not deleterious to our health? At one of your first visits at Progressive, called the Detox Visit, you will be coached how to do a detoxification program. You will be introduced to pieces of that program. You will work with a dietitian on a detox diet. But do not think that this is a one-size-fits-all. When you go in and have that visit, your recommendations will be customized to what you are eating and where you are at, and with changes that you're able to make. It's very important that you communicate who you are and where you are to the dietitian so we're able to meet you where you are at. In addition to getting that dietary information at that visit, it will be tailored at the next visit and at each visit in the 5-part series, so again, that you receive an education that's personalized to you. One of our most important tools, and often chosen for many people, is something called Foundation Detoxification Enhancement. That will look much like a protein shake, but contained within that protein shake, you are getting a mouthful of therapy in different flavors such as vanilla or chocolate. These shakes, for lack of a better word, provide high quality protein. This becomes important because morning protein is something that we all need to, yes, get our day started, to have good energy, but to also start our detoxification pathways. Protein, or more specifically, amino acids that the gut will break those down into, drive the pathways in the liver that are involved in moving chemicals out of the body. So by starting with something that is rich in protein, you're off to a good start. The second thing that protein does for us is it helps your adrenals. We'll learn more about this in a future series, but those adrenals have to respond to stress. Those adrenals make you feel like getting out of bed in the morning, and those adrenals are responsible for whether or not you're putting out high or low, inappropriate levels of stress hormones like cortisol or the right amount. In addition to that protein, the detoxification shake that we use has the equivalent of almost 3 pounds of broccoli in it. We all know that 3 pounds of broccoli is good for us, but the question is how to do that before you get out the door in the morning and not get sick of 3 pounds of broccoli day in, day out. We work with compounds from that broccoli, sulforaphanes, the specific ones that are being researched right now at Johns Hopkins, where they have an entire wing dedicated to the study of these compounds, are used in our detoxification shake. Well, we know broccoli is good for us, but specifically in terms of detoxification, that broccoli will move a second part of our detoxification pathway, something referred to as phase 2. In our liver, we have phase 1 and phase 2, and these are the two major processes that happen in terms of detoxification. For example, cigarette smoke does not even become carcinogenic or cancer-causing until it goes through phase 1. After phase 1, when it is in its intermediate state, this is when it becomes most dangerous to our body. It is up to phase 2 to keep up with this assault and move all of these things out of our system so that we do not feel sick from them, so our genetics are not sick from them, and so that we stay well longer. This shake focuses on emphasizing phase 2 detoxification. The benefits of that are we clear out the most dangerous metabolites more quickly. We don't increase the activity of phase 1, so you're not likely to feel worse before you feel better, which many people have associated with the idea of detoxification. So by using that broccoli compound, focusing on phase 2, we have a powerful tool to moving toxicity out of the body. Maybe you're thinking, I don't feel like I'm highly exposed. Now again, remember, just average water, average air, and average food can be enough of an exposure to dampen our genetic expression. However, besides the chemical exposure from the planet, there are other reasons for problems with detoxification in our body. Our liver has to detoxify not only chemicals from the environment, but products when we're under attack in terms of an infection. When there's an infection in our body, we have more cytokines and interleukins. These are parts of our immune system, and they put out compounds that help to kill off whatever that offender is. The liver has to keep up with this. Detoxification has to keep up with this, the liver being our largest organ of detoxification. Another thing that our liver has to do is to balance hormones. When we make a hormone, it has to go through the liver in order to get out of the body. When we take a hormone, it has to go through the liver in order to get out of the body. So if we do not have good detoxification, many of the therapies we use, even things that we make internally or endogenously, will also be harmful to our system. As we age, detoxification slows down. As we're sick, detoxification can slow down. So opening up this pathway, removing toxic body burden, becomes one of the most important things that we can do long-term to maintain health. We will kick you off with a detox visit, but this should not be something that you do once and once only. This should be something that you return to at least once a year. Ask your practitioner what amount is right for you and how you should do that. For some of you who are more sick, who've had more exposure, who have more issues, we will want you to do some type of detoxification work as much as 4 times a year, maybe a week out of each month, or maybe just once a year. Maybe once a year we'll recommend a 28-day cleanse. Maybe once a year we'll recommend a 6-day detox. All of these are options that you'll ask your clinician about to find out what's right for you. At a minimum, learn how to do a 6-day detox and consider doing a 6-day detox at least once, but maybe optimal being more like 4 times a year. What would a 6-day detox look like? A 6-day detox is a process in which You would use our foundation detox enhancement alongside something called dual phase balance, and you will return to the detox diet that you will learn from the dietitian, and you will put these things together for at least a week to allow your body to calm down, to have less exposure, and again, to have an environment that optimizes the health of the genetics of your brain and of your whole person and your well-being. Detox is an important educational tool, and without an understanding of how to lower toxic body burden, we are at risk of increasing the risk of pathology and the rate at which it progresses. It's important for all of us. It's particularly important for neurologic conditions as well as those of our emotional state, depression and anxiety. However, we're all exposed, we all have flares in our immune system, and we all have things that we make internally, hormones that have to be processed, and understanding a healthy detoxification is important to understanding how to get healthy and stay healthy.